Hello, and thank you to everybody that's come for this evening's broadcast. Um, if this is your first time, let me just very quickly introduce myself. I am Marc Stuart. I am a Scottish church-trained medium. I'm one of the mediums at Dunfermline's Spiritualist Church. Um, I hasten to add, I'm an international medium. So far this year, I've worked in China in January and United States, New York State, and Chicago in March. And yes, I managed to get to both countries without getting the virus. I used to work on an average of two churches a month. Obviously, with everything that's happened in the last 6 months, that is no longer feasible. Since then, I've started doing a weekly broadcast from what you can see is my little office. We have made a lot of mistakes when we were setting up, and I say we because my wife is hidden around the corner. She doesn't like to show herself, but she is actually chairing me tonight. With trial and error, we've got a system that generally works. If you tuned in last week, you'll have seen it was a disaster because my main computer died, literally. There's a new computer now working, so touch wood, we don't have the technical problems that we had last week. Now, I work to very strict rules. These are, if you want a message, put it in the chat. Just say, I want a message. If you don't do that, you won't get a message because I'm not going to call out. Number two, do not ask questions. I'm going to try and get around as many people as I can. I can see we're already up to over 20. If all 20 people ask for a message, then you can imagine I'm only working for an hour. It's going to be difficult. Not guaranteeing that everybody that asks for a message will get one. If you do ask for a message and you don't get one in the order that you ask for it, don't panic because Ying has a very sophisticated spiritualist system. She puts your name in a box and she draws your name out. So that means that the first person to ask for a message could theoretically be the last person, and the last person to ask could also be the last. We like to think that Spirit guides Ying's fingers to the people that need the messages the most, the fastest. It's a system that works. She also works on platform occasionally with myself, or she has done. She's sat in circle, and the two of us are well attuned to each other. So the system works. The messages themselves are going to be very short. I will give 1, 2, 3 bits of evidence. I do ask for feedback. Now, do not give me information. I'm not saying give me extra information, but do not give me simple yeses or nos. There's a time delay. Now, I don't know what the time delay is tonight, but generally on a good night, it can be 10, 15 seconds. On a bad night, it can be as much as 45 seconds. So by the time I've had given maybe 3 lines of evidence and you come back with yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, I'm sitting there trying to work out, is that yes to this? Is it yes to that? Is it even just yes that I'm here? So if for the sake of argument, I say, I've got a black dog, medium size, can you take that? Say yes, black dog. If you can take a dog that's not black, then say yes, dog, not black. You see where I'm going? Just so that when I see your responses, I'm not sitting there repeating myself unnecessarily. I'm not taking a yes to the wrong bit of evidence, and I'm not taking a no to the wrong bit of evidence. I think you've got the message. This is not a church, clearly. This is just me working by myself with my wife. However, I am trying to do this as close to church conditions as I can. This is the way I work on platform. Typically on a church service, I will give between 20 and 30 messages, depending on the amount of time I'm given to work and the size of the congregation. With the time delays, I cannot give that number of messages tonight. So again, just warning in advance, there will probably be some people that may not get a message. But I will get around as many as I can. So that's how I work. I'm going to do a short prayer. I'm then going to give just a very short, and I stress short, message of the week. That's from Spirit, but it also helps me to tune in. It's mediums in churches in Scotland and England. If you're an American, we always give a short message. It's not a long half-hour message that you would get in the States. It's a very short message. And it's as much as a message from Spirit as also to help us to tune in to the other side. So if everybody would please join me in prayer. And I am going to ask everybody, please, to send some healing. 2 people in one of my development circles have both had a member of their family pass over to the other side. So I'm going to be very personal and ask you please to send your loving thoughts to the people still left here, to the two people in my circle, so that they can cope on their spiritual journey and with the pain that they are both feeling. So if everyone would please join me in prayer. Dear Father, Mother, Spirit, thank you for bringing us together. Thank you for opening the door to the other side. Thank you for generating the spiritual energy that I can feel flowing from everyone that's tuning in tonight. Please take that energy and please send some of it to the two people who I'm not going to name because this is a public broadcast, but the two people, one of them who lost her son and the other one who lost her sister-in-law, and please send them the healing energy that only Spirit can send to help them to cope, to feel the spirits on the other side. Please bring us together. Please bring the spirits forward. If there's anyone here that desperately needs a message, please guide them to the front of the queue. Thank you. Amen. My message for you this week is touching on what I asked for in the prayer for spirits. When someone passes on to the other side, we all know as spiritualists that they're going to a far better place. But the people that are left have to cope. And yes, I'm not talking about the emotional loss. I'm talking about the life and death, things that they have to do. Someone dies. The day after the death, a loved one has to go, in Scotland anyway, to the registrar's office to register the death. I remember when my father passed into spirit, very soon after, I had to help my mother to clear out his clothes. This is 3 decades ago, and we couldn't face giving them to a charity shop. The thought of seeing somebody walking past in my father's suit or my father's jeans, however unlikely that seems. So we put them in plastic bags and we put them out to be collected as rubbish. That even saying that hurts. But then I saw two women coming past, going through the plastic bags, taking out the clothes, and my mother was in tears. So being the aggressive, gung-ho, younger chap that I was, I went straight out, explained to the two women that these were the clothes of my father. Could they please use a little bit of compassion and not be going through the plastic bags and just leave them? They looked me in the face and they refused. We had thrown them out. We had no right to object. We had no right to complain. So I got my mobile phone out. I dialed the police. 2 police officers arrived. I explained my mother was in the bay windows, watching from the window. I was the son. And they turned around to those 2 women. And you've never seen 2 polite, assertive Scottish accents in police uniform explain to those 2 ladies that they had to move on. And trust me, with those 2 police officers, made sure that they moved on. We should all be like that. What I'm saying is, when you know of someone who has a loved one who has passed, don't give them meaningless, my heart goes out for you. Don't do that, because they're being inbound with emotional support from the loved ones and from other people. Express your love. Yes, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, be of practical help to them. It might be doing something. It might be driving them to the registrar's office. It might be clearing the clothes out. It might just be being a shoulder to let them cry on. Because when you're doing that, you're not just doing it for a friend, you're doing it for spirit as well. And we do get judged by spirit. If we do good for others, then spirit will do good for us. That can just be as simple as getting a message tonight, or it could be what we call serendipity. It could be that you need some help at some point, and spirit will make sure, just as they made sure that you were there for that person in those specific circumstances that I'm describing, just make sure spirit will make sure that there is somebody there to help you in your time of need. Because spirit is all around us. It's not just communication through mediums. We are all capable of receiving messages. We are all capable of receiving spiritual help. We may not recognize it. We may not be receptive to it. We may just put it down to, good luck, or my friend just happened to be there at that particular moment in time when I desperately needed them. But trust me, just that little bit of nudge to somebody, that little push, that was spirit. So I'll leave you with that thought. Now, my final little bit of news is I am running an open circle at 9:30. I will put the website up at the end. I also have a closing video that goes into it in detail. If you would like to come and maybe experience some training to see what spiritual development is like, feel free to come. But you do have to register by going to the website, filling in a very short form, and you have to do it by 9:15 to give myself enough time to get the Zoom link out to you before 9:30. So I will put a banner up shortly. Other than that, let's get to work, people. So if you just give me a few seconds just to tune in. Okay, I've got one of our regulars here, Jill, coming to Jillian. Jillian, I've got a man coming forward. Short black hair, very curly. Short black curly hair. I think his name might be Chris. Don't quote me on that because I'm not good with names. Quite well built. I wouldn't describe him as muscular, but he's not a weakling. Let's put it this way. If I was in a pub and I was going to be in a fight, he's somebody I'd want there watching my back. So, Jill, can see you there. Can you recognize who this is? A man, not sure about his age. Certainly middle-aged, not a youngster. But definitely I'm being drawn to dark curly hair. So Joe, can you recognize that person? Okay, thank you for the feedback. So that's, as an example, people, that's what I mean by specific feedback. Now that was probably giving me too much information, but Jill was able to give me direct, yes, she could take that. So thank you, Jill. When I'm working, Jill's a regular, so I know she won't mind if I just will go in with this. Basically, Jill is very worried. Sorry if I was getting sidetracked there, but he's very worried not about you, Jill. Do you have a man around you just now that's doing something that's risky? And I don't mean health risky, I don't mean life risky. Something like gambling or like betting. I'm not saying it's gambling, but he's betting or hoping on something like a bet. Someone that you know quite close to you, male, maybe a partner, maybe a brother, but very, very close. And he's doing something that is risky and he's chancy. The word I'm getting is chancer or chancy. Would you describe this person that you're recognizing as a chancer? Okay, so we're describing the person then. He's definitely doing something that's highly risky, and the person that's coming forward to give you a message is extremely worried about whatever this person is doing. Joel, you have to basically sit this person down and slap them across the face like that. I'm sorry for getting physical, but that's what they showed me, quite literally taking my hand and slapping it across my face like that. You have to do this to whoever this man is. Basically talk to him like he's a child. Make him slow down, make him realize that he's not, I'm not saying not to do whatever it is he's doing, but he's got to take care. Slow down, think about it. Really seriously, really seriously treat this like Like, stop taking a risk. It's like he's taking a bet and he's not doing the research into the horses, if that makes sense. So I'm going to leave you with that, Joel. Thanks for the feedback. I'll leave you with that. So I'm coming to Cheryl Lee. Cheryl Lee. Cheryl Lee. Cheryl, I've got a man coming forward. Quite elderly. Not, I mean, we're not talking decrepit, excuse the terminology. I think this is his terminology, actually. Not decrepitly old. That's a very unusual expression for me to describe an elderly man. So that may be his terminology. It may be the way that he describes. And something about his hands. I suddenly want to go like this with my hands. Let me get rid of that so I can show you. I want to go like this and move my hands around in circles. And I don't think it's symbolic. I think something about this man's elderly hands, almost as though he's got very strong hands. This man had something about his hands. He is elderly, but he's not at the point where he's like, I can think of many elderly men that you look at them and you think, how on earth are they still alive? They're so old, they're so weak. I mean, I know that doesn't sound like a good way to describe somebody, but you know, you look at someone who's elderly and you think it's a miracle that they're still alive. It's just, you think it's sheer willpower that's making them. Okay, so I'm taking that you know who we're talking about then. Okay. He's coming forward, something about a car. So Cheryl, have you been having issues or have you done something recently with your car? It may be just as simple as taking it to the garage, or it may be that you're due to take it to the garage, but something, I'm going to say mechanical, or a noise. It's like your car is making a noise, or your car's been to the garage to be fixed. Right, so you've got no car then, so it's not your car. So Cheryl, it's definitely a car. I can't take this back. Do you have somebody close to you that has a car? Or have you been thinking about a car? And it's like an old car. Maybe it was him that was drawing. Did this man drive a car? Is this man showing me his car? And I'm thinking that this is the message. It is quite an old car. It's definitely not a new car. Now, I'm sorry, but that's typing had OEN. Cheryl, you're gonna have to give me a wee bit more clarification with that. Ah, right, okay. So you're thinking of getting one and he did have an old car, right? Okay. So it's both. We're getting both. I think it's just he wants to push you to get a car. I think that the fact that I got the word decrepit, but he had a car so he could get around. I mean, I know he wasn't decrepit, but he put that's the feeling that he put into my head. And I think it was more than just describing himself. You yourself, very, very much, he wants you to stop thinking about it and do it. Question, can you drive? Are you having to take driving lessons? Again, the way the hands, I'm seeing my hands go like that. Sort of steering wheel. Like, he's showing me him or you actually driving your hands like that. He's a very physical man with his car, with his hands. Okay, Charlotte, I'm going to leave you with that and hope that you can make sense of that. Okay, so coming to Kathleen Hanlon. Kathleen. Kathleen Hanlon, coming to Kathleen. Kathleen, I've got a woman coming forward. Kathleen, I've got a woman coming forward for you. Again, quite elderly. The feeling she's putting in a feeling into my head of motherly, but I don't think it's your mother. Can you take someone that was very motherly towards you, or if it is your mother, something about it doesn't feel right about it being your mother, like maybe a stepmother, or maybe a grandmother that was acting as a mother, or somebody that was close to your family that acted motherly towards you as you were growing up. I mean, she's definitely been there while you were growing up, or she's somebody that you've met later in life that she's been a substitute mother. She's quite elderly. Show me the color. I think this is style of clothes, bluish, turquoisey blue, is either a color that she likes or it's the color of clothes that she wore. So Kathleen, can you recognize who this woman is? Okay, so you never met her then. Okay. She's showing me a black and white photo or a pencil drawing. It's either a photo that is so old it looks pencily, or it's an actual pencil drawing of her. And she looks very well dressed in it. It looks like a portrait. It's like a portrait picture or a portrait pencil drawing. Can you identify what this picture is of this woman? Something about the message is about the portrait, the picture. It's very specific. She's drawing attention to this picture for some reason. Do you know what this picture is, Kathleen, or do you know where to look for it? It's almost as though the picture's missing. It's something very important about the picture. It's as though it means it's not you. There's somebody else that emotionally this picture is very important. This person, whoever it is, has to see the picture. Does this make any sense to you, Kathleen? It's either a black and white picture that's very old, or it's a pencil drawing. Okay, so it's you that, okay, I was assuming it was her. It's you that's drawing the picture then. Okay. The woman that's, I'm going to ask a question here because I don't have enough, if this was a private reading, I would have enough time to get a lot more information, but the woman that's crying in the picture, Kathleen, is it somebody that you know? Or is it just somebody that you've invented? Or is the picture representative of you crying? I'm trying to make sense of what your grandmother's giving me. There's much more meaning in this picture. It's either somebody that's crying, or it's you drawing yourself crying in the picture. And I'm trying to sort out which one it is, and I'm sorry. You're going to have to help me, Kathleen. There's something about the picture, like I say, much, much more important than just the picture. So is it you in the picture that's crying and you're expressing it in the picture, or are you drawing a picture of a woman crying? I'm trying to make sense of what your grandmother's, she's giving me emotion, she's not giving me words. So Kathleen, which one is it? Right, so it's yourself, okay. This is an open broadcast, obviously, so I have to be very careful what I say. So give me a few seconds to try and sort out. Kathleen, do you have a woman alive, not in spirit, who is either your sister or very sisterly? I get the feeling it's a sister as opposed to someone that's sisterly. Maybe an aunt. But she's definitely somebody's sister. Your grandmother wants you to go and speak to this woman, and it just basically cry on her shoulder. Remember the message I gave at the beginning. Quite often, when spirit give you a message like that, it means more than just a simple message, because it can come out in the messages. I think, yeah, you're basically to go and basically the woman that you've identified, just go and explain the way you're feeling and get her support. Your grandmother is very, very strongly sending you in that direction. So, Kathleen, I'm going to leave you with that. And your grandmother sends her love. You'll notice, people, I don't usually express love unless it's very important, unless that is part of the message. But Kathleen, as well as going to see your sister, your grandmother is expressing enormous amount of love for both you and your sister. And she wants you to tell your sister this as well. Your sister can help you with your crying, but she wants both you and your sister, because you never met her, she wants you to know that she's there, she's in the background, and she's sending her love, and your sister will be able to help you. So I'm going to leave you with that. Okay, I'm coming to Mary Murray. Mary Murray. So Mary Murray, are you with us, Mary? Mary, just give us a quick yes so I know that you're here. Mary, I've got a man coming forward. A very strange man, personality-wise. At least that's the way that he's expressing himself. His words, not mine. A very thin man. Before he passed, I think he was a very weak man. Now, the weakness may have been physical or it may have been emotional. So can you recognize who this man is, Mary? Is that a yes that you're still here? This is what I said earlier at the beginning, people. Don't just give me straight yeses and nos. If you give me a yes, you have to put in the context of what it is. So, Mary, are you saying yes that you can recognize the man, or are you saying yes that you're here? I'm going to take it that because I asked you to give me a yes, I'm going to take that as a yes that you're here. This man, I get the feeling he passed of a heart attack, actually, or something in the chest. When he was alive, he was either hard of breathing or he had... Right, okay, so let me ask him to take that back. You know who we've got then? Mary, something happened between you and him, or something was said. Again, these messages are very short, they're not private, so I'm only working very, very quickly. What he wants to say to you is he wants to express an emotional sorry. He wants to apologize to you. Now, he's not giving me a lot of detail about what he's apologizing for, but a very, very direct apology to you from him. It's either something that he said or something that he reacted to or something that he did. He's very clear that you'll know what he's talking about, and he doesn't want to give me a lot of information. Like I say, I'm trying to work fast. But very, 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 very much, very strong, wants to express two words: I'm sorry. So, Mary, can you understand what he's talking about? Again, just give me a quick yes you can or no you can't. So, Mary, can you understand what he's saying? He wants to send you a very, very strong, direct apology. Do you understand what he's talking about? Not sure what the time delay is, Mary, so I'm going to move on very quickly. Just give me a quick yes, you understand, or no, you don't. So, Mary. Okay, thank you, Mary. I'll just leave you with that, Mary, and I'm going to move on. Coming to Alison O'Donnell. Alison O'Donnell. So, Alison O'Donnell. Alison, I've got another woman coming forward. Something about her job. She worked for the government or the civil service. That's the same thing in Britain. Local government or civil service. Some sort of job that would be public sector, rules and regulations, clean cut. I get the feeling that this is both her character and her job. It's almost as though her character was perfectly suited to the job that she did. And this was like a career woman. Her entire career was a public servant, not a politician. She's one of the people behind the politicians in the public sector, civil service, local government, like the kind of people that process licenses or driving licenses or paperwork or taxis, or I don't mean a taxi, I mean like a tax office. But very, very much rules and regulations for the public good. And she loved her job. Like I say, the feeling that I'm getting is that she was perfectly cut out for this job that she did. So, Alison, can you recognize this woman? She's not giving me a lot to work with, just her personality. Okay, stay where you are, Alison. I'm going to open this up because this is too strong a feature. So I'm going to do this as an open message. I don't like doing open messages, people, because if you watched 2 weeks ago, you would have seen 4 people coming forward to claim a woman that was dumb and deaf. And there was only about 12 people in the audience at that point, and yet we had 4 people trying to claim this one spirit. So as a general rule, I don't do this, but this is too specific. It's a woman in spirit who was a career public servant. Whatever she did in the public service, it was all about rules and regulations, and her personality was 100% suited to the job that she did. So can anyone take that job? Can anyone take this woman? Okay, Jill, it's me that's interpreting public service, but as I said, what she's giving me, I still feel it's a public service as opposed to a banker. I'm going to say no, Jill. It's not a banker. It would be making the message fit. So no, this is a woman. It's absolute definite. She works in the public sector. She was a civil servant, maybe a tax inspector because she's showing me money. I'm sorry, no, Alison. This is not an accountant. She may have been an accountant, don't get me wrong. She may have been an accountant, Alison, but she worked for the public sector. So Aileen and Sullivan, if you try to think this woman is for you, it's only if she works, she's reinforcing this again, only if she works in the public sector, civil servant. So I'm going to ask her to stand back unless anybody can come forward to take a woman who was a career public servant. So I'm going to ask her to sit back. I'm only going to keep this open a few seconds longer. Right, okay. If anyone comes forward, I'm sorry, I'm asking the woman to step back. So I'm coming back to yourself, Alison. So Alison, coming back to yourself. Alison, I've got a man coming forward. Very working class. Heavy emphasis that he was a worker. I don't know if he was a trade unionist, but he's in a job where you would expect there to be a trade union. May have worked in a factory, may have been maybe even a dock worker that works with his hands. Maybe a skilled worker, but drawing attention that he works with his hands. So I don't think we're talking about a tradesman. I don't think it's a skilled worker, maybe a labourer, but heavy feeling that he is or describes himself as working class. Now that may be politics. It may be someone like in Great Britain, if you go back like 20 years, we would say he's a natural Labour voter, a natural Labour supporter. But I get the feeling it's more than that. I get the feeling that he actually worked in, still attention drawn to my hands. So a man, quite strong, I would say in his mid to late 60s when he passed. Okay, thank you, Alison. Good. So let's see why he's coming forward now. He's drawing attention to I want to close my eyes. Now, Alison, I do not diagnose, but, and also he wants to bring my hand up to my face. So something physical. If not yourself, somebody close to you, something around the top, very specifically the lip, the upper lip, or the area of the face above the upper lip, and eyes. I want to strain or very physical. I want to strain or close my eyes, and I want to put my hand up to touch my face here, which I know in the current health crisis I shouldn't be doing. But is that yourself, Alison, or is it somebody close to you? It's definitely physical. Now, I do not diagnose, so I'm not. This is something that you have to either currently be aware of, or somebody close to you that you're aware of, or the person close to you is aware of. So, Alison, do you understand what I'm talking about? This area of the face, upwards. I know the eyes are above your mouth, but something physical on the face, and eye strain, closing your eyes like that. Can you make sense of that, Alison? Either yourself or somebody close to you. Okay. And do you understand what I'm talking about in the face? It's more than just your eyes, Alison. It's this area, very specifically this area of the face. And he's also drawing attention to the back of my head. Suddenly very itchy. Okay. Okay, Alison, so you can understand everything I'm talking about. Good. Okay, now let's see what he's got to say about it. Oh, okay. He's telling you to get drunk. I mean it, Alison, that is the message. He wants you to go out, have a night out and get drunk, just to get your mind off it, or to get a bottle. I mean, I'm not telling you to become an alcoholic. He's not telling you to become an alcoholic, but he is telling you to get for some reason he's showing the whiskey, spirits. So Alison, could you do you like Scotch whiskey? Or did he like Scotch whiskey? He's telling you to have a good drink. So I'm going to leave you with that, Alison. I don't think that's going to solve your physical problems. And obviously you're aware of it, so you've got it in hand. I mean, just the obvious, take care of yourself. If you haven't been to see a doctor, go see one, or optician, whatever's appropriate. Now, I'm not diagnosing, but I was feeling it. So get it dealt with. but he wants you to have a good stiff drink. Now, I don't think it's emotional. I don't think it's a case of there's bad news coming, so have a drink. Just he wants you to have a drink and relax with it. Yeah. He wants you to have a drink. That's the message from him. So he liked to drink and he wants you to have a good drink. I think that's just, it may just be him expressing his personality to you. It's more than evidence. It's what he wants you to do. I don't know if you like a good drink. I don't know if you like a good drink. I don't know if he's just telling you to have a good drink. But I'm going to leave you with that. So coming to Christina Bosse. Christina Bosse. So, Christina. Christina, I've got someone. Can you take someone in spirit who suffered from Alzheimer's or dementia before they passed? So, Christina, are you still with us? And can you take someone on the other side who suffered from dementia? It's a very specific message I'm getting, and I'm not going to be able to move on beyond the symptom that they're giving before I get an acknowledgement. Can you take a woman? Yeah, it's a woman who suffered from Alzheimer's or dementia before she passed. When they do this to me, they just put a mental blankness in my mind as a symptom. Okay, so Christina, right, thank you. This is a woman. I get the feeling that before she passed, she was getting people mixed up. There's one person in particular that she was getting, a younger person that she was getting mixed up with. There's two people. There's the person that she was thinking that was the older person that she was thinking was the younger person. I'm getting the feeling this is like a father and son or a mother and daughter situation where she's identifying the son or the daughter as the mother or the father. Does that make sense to you, Christina? Was this person, this woman, getting two people mixed up, identifying the younger person as the older person? Because that's the memory that she had stuck in her head. And I don't think it wasn't just like once or twice. It was an ongoing situation when she was with us. So can you understand am I getting this wrong? But that's very, very much what she's showing me. So can you understand what we're talking about, Christina? Okay, so that doesn't make sense. So I've got two people then. She's showing me two people, like a father. I don't know whether it's a father and a son or a daughter and a mother, but there's two people. I was taking it as confusion, but she's talking about two people, a father and son or mother and daughter. Or is it four? Is it father and mother and daughter and son? Is it a family of four that we're talking about? Does that make sense to you? Like I say, that's what she's showing me. I couldn't make my mind up whether it was a father and I couldn't. That was what was making me think it was two people. That she was getting confused because she was showing me two men and two women, which I thought was symbolic for the two people. Is it literally a family of four that she's talking about? Now they're all adults. We're not talking about children. Mother, father, son, daughter, or two identifiable groups of people that look like father and daughter and mother and daughter, father and son. And they look like, it's definitely father and son and mother and daughter because they look like each other. Ah, right, okay. Sorry. So it's me. It's because I'm working short. Yeah, that's too close to make that. Yeah, that fits what I'm being shown, because it's a man and a woman, elderly, and it's a woman and a man, younger. Now, it's not children she's showing me, so be absolutely clear. I don't want to make this fit what you're showing me. Your son and daughter, if they've passed as children, then it must have been, they must have had enough time to become fully grown. I'm not saying they're in their 20s or anything like that, but they're certainly, to look at, they look like adults or young adults. So are your children either adults when they passed, or if they've passed as children, it has to have been long enough ago for them to have grown up. So I don't want to make, I'm not trying to change this to make it fit what you've told me. Just give me a clear yes or no. Your children, would they be grown up now if they passed as young children, or did they pass as adults? So can you make sense of this, Christina? I'm not going to try and make it fit the facts you've given me. Are your son and daughter old enough to be adults now, or did they pass as adults? Because that's what's going to make it clear if that's what I'm being shown. Right. No, sorry. I'm going to say no then, Christina. That's not what I'm being shown. I'm being shown, as I said, father, son, mother, daughter, but the children are adults. So I'm sorry. I'm going to have to leave this with you. It may be people that it may be what. Hopefully, it's going to come to you afterwards, but it's too specific. I'm not going to change this to fit the facts. These are not children. These are young adults, maybe very young adults, but they're definitely adults. So I'm going to leave you with that. Maybe afterwards it'll come to you. The woman sends her love. Maybe even people that were connected. I still feel these are people who are connected to this woman as opposed to your children. So I'm just going to leave you with that. She wants to send her love and thanks to these four people, whoever they are. I'll leave you with that. Coming to Caroline Tinks Johnson. So Caroline, coming to Caroline. Caroline, I've got somebody coming forward, a man that died of cancer, severe cancer. I mean, we're not just talking like a tumor in his lungs. We're talking, it may have started in his lungs, but it spread. Someone on the other side who passed, a man, massive cancer. A man in spirit who's passed with cancer. A man with enormous, and he died painfully. I think he was in his 60s, bedridden at the end. The cancer was so bad. I'm in pain all over. If it's not cancer, it's very, very much like cancer, something that's spread throughout the body. I get the feeling it is maybe started as lung cancer and it's spread throughout the body. So, Caroline, are you still with us? And can you take a man in spirit? So, Caroline, can you take a... Caroline, are you still with us? Caroline? Caroline, I'm going to move on in a few seconds if I don't get an acknowledgement that you're still with us. Okay, sorry, Caroline, I'm going to have to move on. So I'm going to open this up. I see somebody coming forward that says they can recognize this. So, Jason, let's see what else we can get. see if we can get any verification. I've also got Kaz. Okay, so we've got two people coming forward that can take this person potentially. This man died in a hospital. I'm seeing a hospital bed. It's either a hospital or some sort of caring institution, maybe a home, but it's a plastic metallic type hospital bed. So can either of you give me confirmation, Kaz or Jason, can you take this person dying in some sort of institution? If it's not a hospital, it's definitely a caring home. They were being cared for, nursing. Okay, right. So we've got, let me see what else they'll give me, or he'll give me. There's a woman coming forward. So this is this man's partner. So this man's partner is also in spirit. The woman outlived the man. So the woman lived for a good few years before the woman that's coming forward. The woman that's coming forward with the man is quite rounded face. The woman's coming forward as well to help identify the man. Very rounded face. She wore glasses. So, Kaz, Jason, can you take this man, your father or your grandfather, your mother or your grandmother also being in spirit? Right. Okay, thank you, Kaz. So, Jason, I've got a woman coming forward as well. She's rounded face feature. I'm making the assumption it's his partner, but whoever this woman is, she was alive for at least 5 to 10 years after he passed. So, Jason, okay, thank you, Jason. So we know who we're with. Jason, are you having a problem with your throat? Attention suddenly is being drawn to like a sore throat, back of the mouth, back of the throat. If it's not sore, it's extremely dry. Maybe speech. So, Jason, can you understand something about your throat? Now, this is not your grandfather. This is either you or somebody close to you. Issue with your throat, back of the mouth, throat. And I think it's more at the back of the mouth, actually, like the tongue, like the area, the back of the tongue going into the throat. Do you understand what this is about? Now, remember, Jason, I don't give diagnosis. So this has to be a symptom that you can recognize or a symptom in somebody else that you can... And also, I'm holding my hand up like this. Suddenly, I want to hold my hand up and curve my fingers like that. So, Jason, does any of this make sense to you? Your hand... Yeah, okay. Right, Jason, the message is very direct. Go get a test. If you've already had the test, fine. But I'm not diagnosing, so be absolutely clear, I'm not giving you a diagnosis. But you have to get the test that you yourself are talking about. Or if you haven't had the test, if you've had the test, you know what we're talking about here. Yeah, get the test. I'm going to leave you with that, Jason, and good luck tomorrow. Seriously, good luck. I'm not diagnosing. I say absolutely clear, I am not medically diagnosed, and hopefully it's just the cold and the flu. But that's the message from your grandparents. They want you to get the test, don't miss the appointment, and take care of yourself. Okay, everybody, so that's us coming to the end of the hour. Anyone that hasn't had a message, I apologize. We were up to 30 people at one point. I'm not sure if there's anyone that's requested a message that I haven't come to. If you have asked for a message, I'm sorry, but with the circle starting at 9:30, I do have to cut this short. I'm going to do two things. I'm going to play out a short video, and I'd ask you to watch it because it's got details about the circle. You can see if you want to come to the circle, there's a web link to come to. So if everyone would please join me for a closing prayer. Dear Father, Mother, Spirit, thank you very much for my computer working for the first week, and heaven only knows how many weeks. I was going to say God knows, but I'm doing a prayer, so I'll keep it polite. Thank you for the spirits coming forward from the other side. Thank you for the messages that we gave. Thank you for being able to get around as many messages as we were able to. Please, for anyone that wanted a message that didn't get one, please send a spiritual communication to them. Please take the healing energy that we've generated amongst ourselves, send it to the two people that I asked for at the beginning, and if there's any spare energy, please send it to someone else. Anyone here that needs a message that didn't get one, please let them find someone to give them a message if they didn't get it. And thank you, and amen. So I'm just very quickly going to close you out with a little bit of music. Thank you for coming. We will be back next week. Same time, 8 o'clock UK time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Good night. Thank you, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the music. And again, just to repeat, come to the open circle. We do give messages in the circle, and if you've got any curiosity, that's the place to come. And finally, good night.